that might be what actually killed this car, just a simple expansion tank. Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and if you're new to my channel, I hope you stick around and consider subscribing. I put new videos every week on some Jaguar and classic car related content. In today's video, I'm going to start the disassembly of the 1999 S-Type V8, getting it ready for an engine swap. So if you haven't seen the previous videos on this car, a friend of mine bought it non-running. We didn't know what was wrong with it. Figured out it had no compression on a few cylinders. I was able to get the compression up and get it started. However, it ran terribly, smoked a lot, and probably has blown head gaskets because saw a lot of coolant actually exiting the exhaust, actually liquid coolant. And then the last time I had it run, it started knocking as well. So we found a good used engine, which is going in it. However, that means that engine has to get out, and that's quite a big job. There's a lot of things to remove. So today I thought I'd start by basically making room in the engine bay and removing everything I think needs to be removed in order to get that engine out. And then we're also going to see, because there are two ways of getting it out, and I haven't really decided which way the engine is going out yet. But before we go over and start working on the car, just a big update. Today, the Living with a Classic store is officially open, so if you feel like supporting the channel and getting some cool merchandise, I have these t-shirts here in lots of different colors. We have hoodies as well, stickers, and coffee mugs at the moment. And this whole weekend, so today from Thursday until the end of Monday, so the end of November, I'm running an opening sale, so it'll be 10% off everything if you use the promo code OPENING when you check out. So 10% off everything this weekend in the merchandise store. So there's a link down below if you want to check it out. And also let me know in the comments down below if you like the merchandise or if any other things you'd like to see. There are a few more items that are going to join the store pretty shortly. I'm just waiting on a few samples to make sure that they're good. But once they are, I will of course update you guys when I have any new things in the store. Alright, let's go and have a look at the car. So here's the car I'm going to be swapping the engine on. It's a 1999 S-Type V8, and it's an overall pretty good shape for its age. It looks not that great on camera because it's really dirty, but the paint is pretty nice on it. It doesn't have any rust at all, anything underneath. Just a quick look inside. I mean, the interior is just dirty, but it's all there. No rips, no tears, no real wear marks. Headliner's in good shape. Everything's great. And when I had the engine running, there were actually no warning lights on the dash for ABS or anything, not even a check engine light. So that was working well. But just a really brief recap if you haven't seen the previous videos on this car. So a friend of mine got this car non-running. We knew it didn't have really any compression. So we thought that we'd try to see if it would just been flooded and, you know, nick us the liners and all that. So got the compression levels up by putting ATF down the cylinders and let them soak for a bit. Got pretty decent compression on most cylinders. It would definitely run. So put in new spark plugs. It fired off. It smoked up my workshop like crazy. So since it was smoking really bad, I wanted to get it out of there. So I put it in gear, and as soon as I did, it just flat out died. So it would not restart. I tried the whole thing again, took the plugs out, dried everything off. They were soaked in fuel, and I did everything over again. Finally, the exact same thing happened again. Finally, I decided to just pull it out of the workshop with my tractor, did everything, I started up and let it sit outside, and then I let it run for a pretty long time, like 15-20 minutes. And I noticed that the expansion tank at that point basically got completely empty, and I filled it before. So, and I also noticed that the smoke was not clearing at all, and it was turning more and more white. And it definitely smelled of coolant, and I could even see coolant basically pouring out of the exhaust. So definitely has blown head gaskets or cracks somewhere. I think that the previous owner overheated this car pretty badly, because while this thing was running and it sort of started to smell really hot, and I checked, you know, thermostat was open, everything was hot. The temperature gauge in the car was not even reading a quarter way up on the scale. So at least what I think happened is, I think the owner lost coolant, because I believe there's a crack in the expansion tank. We'll see that in a little bit. Lost coolant. There's no low coolant warning light on these cars. The gauge was probably not reading correctly. They were not aware that it was overheating. Got home, turned the car off. Then next day it would not start. That's at least what I think has happened. But when we have the engine out, we will disassemble this thing completely, like you guys have asked me to, and we'll see what's actually wrong with it, which will be really interesting to see. Also, you guys will see the complete insides of a Jaguar V8. We'll take apart everything and have a look at it. On to the plan here. So I have a good used engine. However, I have never swapped an engine on an S-Type. So if anyone watching has swapped these engines before on an early S-Type, or even on a later one as well, just has done an engine swap on an S-Type, or maybe has worked for a Jaguar dealership when these things were new, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you, get some tips. But I do have the factory manual, workshop manual, and the first step is to remove the transmission, and then the engine comes out by itself, just lift it up from the top with the transmission out. However, I do believe that they were put in the car together with the subframe from below. So I don't have a lift, so I'm trying to figure out what the easiest way for me to do it would be, if it is to follow the manual from the factory, or if it is to drop it down below with the subframe, then lift the car up a bit and sort of roll the subframe out from under the car. So let me know in the comments down below if you've done this before, if you have any tips. I have written to a Jaguar mechanic who worked on these a lot, and I'm waiting to hear back, see what he thinks. Anyway, so today we're going to start removing everything that is going to be in the way. That's the wipers, that's this, cowl here. There was a bar over here and like a brace. We have a look at the expansion tank, see if that thing's actually cracked. Intake ducting, all of this up here, radiator. Let's just see how much we can get off. Step one is to clean up any debris up here. I've already removed any big loose leaves, but there's a lot of debris left there, so I'm just going to use a vacuum cleaner and get the last of it out. Usually there are plastic caps over here, but they're missing, so we'll order some new ones and put the car back together. Just going to spray some penetrating fluid on these 13mm nuts here. Hopefully get those off. They actually moved, both of them, so that's really good. Now for the wiper arms. These just needed a little bit of a wiggle to get them off. However, if they're stuck on there really badly, you can use one of these. You can pick up cheaply at any other parts store. It's just a little remover tool that you fit over there to push on the shaft while it pulls up on the mechanism. But this time I didn't need them. Okay, we'll be putting those to the side in a bit, but however, since there'll be so much I'm removing, I'm actually going to put the nuts back on the shafts here just so I don't lose them. Now there's only a couple of clips. There should be clips all the way along here holding it in place. You see, that's what they're supposed to look like. You push the middle part down to unlock them. So this one's already unlocked. Push it down and then they can lift up. And then there are screws over here. Here's what one of them looks like. They're supposed to be under these covers over here. So there's one missing over here. So you can just get those off. Undo those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws up here. And the clips, and this whole thing just lifts off. I'm on the last bolt here for the support frame. They're usually really difficult to get off. Remember on my car, one of the bolts snapped in here. Same thing happened here, even though I kind of sprayed them for days and I went really carefully back and forth. One of them snapped. So I'll have to drill one of those out later. That will be a huge pain. But at least this thing is out of the way now. And we can move on to the expansion tank. The cooling expansion tank is just held in place with 2 bolts, one over here and one over here. They're 10mm. And then it has a couple of coolant lines going to it. I'm going to try to remove them, but I don't need to be that careful with them because I have a new tank, and the new tank actually came with new coolant lines as well. And start to lift it out now. Just see if we can remove this line here. It just has one of these quick clamps. Okay, let's put that to the side. And I believe there's one more at the bottom somewhere. There's one more line at the bottom and it hooks up to the firewall here, so I'm going to see if I can get that clamp off, otherwise I'll just cut the line. The clamp was all the way turned around, so it's really hard to get to, so I end up cutting the line or the hose since I have a new one. I'll get the clamp off later when the engine is out. And a little bit of coolant came out, but really not much at all. And let's see, yeah, you see there? It's a massive, massive crack, so this thing is definitely leaking. The one on my V6 was leaking as well when I got it to replace that. It's really common that these crack with age, so that might be what actually killed this car, just a simple expansion tank. The plan was to drain the radiator now, however, when I looked underneath, on this side, the passenger side on the left-hand drive car of the radiator, there is a little plastic drain screw. However, it's snapped off. It's not leaking, but it's snapped off, so can't really drain the radiator the way I want to. So I'm going to just continue removing things here, see if we can get the bottom hose off and drain it that way. So I want to get the intake duct off here. There's a hose clamp up here, hose clamp there, a hose there, and a hole down over there. Okay, that's off as well, so this should all come apart now. Okay, that's all loose now. Air filter looks pretty dirty, so that's definitely been there a long time. Okay, throw it out of the way. We're gonna get a new one anyways, and let's see if we can remove this as well. Okay, that was an 8. Yeah, it was an 8. So yeah, I mostly work on the other car, so I hardly ever use my metric tools actually. Okay, I actually don't know if it's held in place with anything else, but it doesn't appear to be. It's an interesting little hole in your snorkel thing. Move that to the side. Once again, I'm putting bolts back in just to make this a lot easier to put back together. The plan is actually to try and do all this pretty quickly. I'm going to be busy now for a couple days, so I won't be working on it after this. But after that, I really want to try and get all this done before the end of the year. So the goal is to, before New Year's, to fire this thing up with the new engine, which that would be really cool. If that doesn't happen, it's going to be, early 2021. But I really, really want to get this done pretty quickly. Got this top panel to remove now. In case you're wondering, yes, there's a lot of panels on top of here, like covers, and I have removed those already. There's one on each side of the bank where it says Jaguar V8, I believe, and then there's just a big plastic cover that sort of mimics the look of the inlet manifold that the S-Types had, but that's all taken off already. I believe that these are sort of like thumb screws or something, or I don't really remember. It was quite a while ago I had this off on my car. Oh, you can sort of screw and pull sort of situation. Go. And that's one thing when you're doing something on a car of this age. Be careful with all the plastic components, because you might think, alright, this is just a little clip, it doesn't cost much, and well, I'll just drop one, I'll have to pick it up. But if you end up breaking in all of them, pretty soon it adds up. Okay, now we have a front radiator support up here. You can see the radiator, and we can also see the condenser up here. I've already checked the AC system is empty, so I will be opening that up, and when we recharge it, we will put in a new receiver dryer and all of that. Hopefully the AC system will work, but maybe that will need some work. So here's what it looks like up here. There are these supports here, which I think you can unbolt here to get to the radiator. And I think that the radiator can be taken out with the fans and everything attached, but not really sure. Down there's the lower radiator hose. I'm gonna see if I can get to that clamp easily to take that off. Otherwise, maybe I'll have to do that from underneath. It's actually a couple days later and nothing really has changed. If you saw the Monday video, you saw that I had some issues with the charging of my daily driver, my 1975 XJ6. Because it's my daily driver, of course, I prioritize working on that car in front of working on a big project like this. That has thankfully now been sorted. It's working as it should. You will actually get a surprise update on all of that coming out this weekend. So keep an eye on the channel this weekend. There will be a surprise video coming up then on actually sorting out the whole charging thing with the XJ6. So not much has been going on here. I've just done a little bit of research, and it does seem that the best way is to remove the transmission and then remove the engine. So I think that is what I'm going to do, but please let me know in the comments down below if anyone has removed the engine on the subframe of one of these and if that is something that's doable or not. Otherwise, I have just, sort of read through the manual and checked on which cables actually have to disconnect, which hoses, everything. So in the next episode, my plan is to remove the last of all the stuff and then start actually removing the engine. So if that means removing the transmission first or whatever has to be done, that will be in the next episode on this car. That's it for this episode. I didn't get quite as far as I thought I would. I thought I'd have time to disconnect everything and remove everything so that next time it would just be removing the engine in some way or fashion. But like I said, something came up. The daily driver was broken, like you saw on Monday, and I always have to prioritize the car that I daily drive over a long-term project like this one. The XJ6 is up and running again. It's been behaving, so you will actually see a bonus episode this weekend, so keep an eye on the channel. Sometime this weekend I will be dropping a bonus episode on actually finishing what wasn't finished in Monday's episode and actually getting the XJ6 working again and working well. Another thing I've been quite busy with behind the scenes is, of course, the Living with a Classic store, which opens today. I have a link in the description down below, so feel free to visit the store and have a look. So far there are t-shirts and hoodies in multiple colors. There's also a sticker. There are more types of stickers coming. There's only one at the moment. And there's a nice coffee and tea mug as well. So let me know what you think of the products on there. As a opening celebration from now until Monday, so the end of November, I have a promotion code. It's just opening in all capital letters. It says it on the first site of the website. If you use that at checkout, you get 10% off everything. So it's a little bit of opening sales I'm doing right now. So I hope you guys like the merchandise. Let me know if there's anything else you would like to see on there. Anyways, I do plan on working on the S-Type really soon. I have some other things planned the next couple of days, but next week I will be back working on it and hopefully figuring out how I'm going to get that engine out. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. And until next time, I'm Adam, and this was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.